Taurus, welcome to this reading. I hope you're well. Okay, we have, wow, Four of Pentacles reversed. Already, this really feels like a message that something is coming to light, something is coming up to the surface to be revealed. We had the slip about detectives, we've got this message about a repetitious or recurring message that you're hearing or thinking inside your own mind. And I think for many of you, it will feel like it's coming from within. And then the Four of Pentacles reversed, which is a releasing, it's an opening up, it's a letting go of something that we've been holding on to tightly, usually because of fear. We have the Page of Cups reversed, so this could be talking about a message I'm hearing that was in the wind. So someone could have sent you a message and for some reason it genuinely didn't get to you. Maybe there was a problem with your network, their network. If it was something in the post, maybe it's just, I don't know, gone somewhere and someone's only just found it, or maybe it was misdelivered or something like that. So that could be arriving. We have the Wheel of Fortune reversed, Sagittarius energy there. It feels like something that you've been wanting to know, that's been trying to find you as well. It just hasn't been time up until now. I don't know why I've got so many cards in this deck that are flipped around, but whatever. Nine of Cups reversed with the Moon. Yes, Pisces energy there. Yeah, something you've been longing for, wishing for, waiting for, but you know, with the Moon, it's almost a feeling of maybe I can feel it around. I'm wondering where it is when it's coming in. I'm not, you know, seeing any visible signs outside of me, but I'm feeling very intuitively that this isn't something I'm making up, that this is coming. So it does feel like some sort of communication, whether it's going to be your person of interest here, or whoever, you know, if it's someone you're in a relationship with, that they might say something to you or hand you something that's around and to do with communication. What is this? We have the Knight of Pentacles. See, look at this slow moving energy. This is something actually that could be really significant to you, because it feels like you've been hoping and waiting for this for some time. Okay, let's see what we have here. The Two of Wands. Yeah, so we're getting movement now. Page of Pentacles reversed, Ten of Pentacles reversed, and the Page of Wands reversed. We've got 3 pages. The only one we don't have is the Page of Swords. And that would be a page who goes out, explores, investigates, and gathers up the facts. So I feel like until this turning point, you haven't had hard evidence facts. You've had intuition, gut feelings, suspicions, and whatever this is, it's being held back from you on purpose. And I do feel like it's because this Four of Pentacles and a Knight of Pentacles person, it feels like the same energy. So it could be you. It could be that, you know how sometimes we want something but we might not be ready for it. So as an example, what's coming to mind is somebody who's like, I really want to see ghosts, I want to really open my third eye, I want to be clairvoyant or whatever it is, you know, something like that. But actually, if they were to see a spirit or a ghost or something, it would terrify them. So it hasn't happened for them yet, but now they're starting to relax into it, to open up. They're starting to see smaller things here and there very slowly. So it could be something like that, that you felt, yes, I want this, but also you've known in part, if it happens, I might be overwhelmed, or I want it, but only if the answer is what I need to hear or what I want to hear. If it's the opposite, it will break me or something, you know? So it was just held back. If this isn't your energy, it's the reason this has taken some time is because whoever this is, so obviously the person of interest here that you're interested in, they've taken some time to get to a particular point. It could be they've been overcoming some fears. They could have been working on something practical, home, finances, something like that, with it being Pentacles. So they may have literally been building something up, some resource, but they've needed time to get to this point. Okay, so Two of Wands, are we going to leap off or not? Page of Pentacles reversed, Ten of Pentacles reversed, Page of Wands reversed. This feels like news that could change something quite big. It could change a relationship, whether it's one you're in with this person or relationships outside of this connection. It could change up something to do with work, where one or both of you lives, or if you live together, you know, the home that you live in. So this could, you know, it feels like it's a short message, but it's big. It's a short message that will say something like, you know, it could just be, hello, how are you? Or if, you know, if you don't live with this person, of course, how have you been? Fine, we just had coffee together, why are you asking me? but within this message, they're saying, by the way, I got divorced, or if you're in a relationship with this person, do you think we should move house? We've always talked about going to live in Japan. Should we look into it? Should we make it happen? It's a short, quick thing to say, but the implications are pretty huge. And the reason it hasn't happened till now, like I said, is because one of you has needed time to either be prepared to hear this, receive this, and to be okay no matter which way it goes, or if whoever's, if this person, if they're delivering this message to you, they've needed time to get to a point where I think, either emotionally they felt strong enough, or practically they had the ability to back up and take action on whatever they're offering, saying, or suggesting here. So that's pretty exciting. It feels like there is something coming in that's, in your opinion, is long overdue. And I think it's communication that you will be able to say yes or no to. It feels like a question. It feels like you're going to have options. Do you want to do this? Should we do that? And you get to think about it and say yes or no. Let's see, is there any other reason why this is coming through now? Why has this been held up? Anything else? I'm looking particularly at this Wheel of Fortune reversed. I feel like there's something more there. 9 of Wands reverse, yes, absolutely. So same message, there's been resistance that's no longer there now. Not resistance towards one another, but resistance either, something that's been triggered within, something in the surrounding circumstances. But we're ready now. We're ready to deliver this message. We're ready to hear it and receive it. It feels good though. It doesn't feel like it might be scary. Like if you're moving country or home or something, yeah, sure, that's scary, but exciting if you're moving by choice. It doesn't feel like it's inherently bad news or anything. The 9 of Cups, it feels like what's been disappointing is waiting for this. But it's something that's wanting to be shared, something that's, well, that doesn't make sense. I wanted it to make sense because I'd already started, but it doesn't. It's something that this person's wanting to share and you're wanting to hear. And the reason I feel they're the ones speaking this information and you're receiving it is because I feel this moon energy is very much you, and this is kind of a receptive, I'm having to wait, I'm looking for the signs kind of energy. And of course with this clairaudience, we're hearing something, we're receiving something. Great, so let's put these to one side and let's move into a general message. So in terms of the new energy, what is coming through? Let's have a drink as well. Okay, so let's start with this crazy Moonology card. So with a North Node and South Node, we could be looking at something around work, life purpose, making a really big career move that feels kind of scary, very different to whatever was happening before or with studies. Okay, so South Node, don't let your past hold you back. The South Node, like the North Node, is a karmic point, but it's opposite to the North Node and relates to the past, perhaps even to past lives. Whatever you're going through and whatever you're asking about, there's a chance that age-old programming and conditioning is stopping you from achieving all that you might. And where it says age-old here, I actually wanted to read it as old age. So whatever age you are, even if you're 20, there might be something in your mind that's saying, I am too old to make this change. People at my age don't make this particular change in life, whatever that change is pertaining to. And the message here is saying, don't let that programming hold you back. How do you feel within? What do you think of your own specific practical situation? Can you make the change? If so, that's all you need to be concerned with. Do you feel stuck in something? This card will often come as a sign that the situation or relationship you're asking about has somehow become suffocating, even toxic. It suggests that someone, you even, needs to be released, that there's some kind of addiction going on or an unhealthy attachment that needs to be sorted out. One thing is for sure, when you get this card, you're being challenged to make some changes, even if staying where you are feels easier and safer. And it says attune to the moon, and then the sentence here says I release the past. Absolutely, it's a time for the new. So think about what this could be talking about in your life. I feel it could be some My immediate thought here is something around work and life purpose, like specifically moving into an area that feels like you're aligning your work with your life purpose, or trying to, or wanting to. And the second thing that comes through is about something within the self. So regardless of any kind of relationship around you, I feel like this is talking about self-identity, how you're showing up, how you are allowing yourself to show up in the world, how you're identifying in any particular way. You know, a silly example, maybe up until this point you've always been someone who resonates as being a gardener. You love gardening. Suddenly you're not interested and you want to do something that's more inside the house, and you're feeling like, but that's not me. I love being in my garden. I love being outside. Well, maybe that's who you used to be, and that's fine, and maybe you still like to garden a bit, but why don't you allow yourself now to do whatever it is you want to explore within the home? So I know that's perhaps a silly example, but just as well as work, career, studies, that sort of thing, and aligning with life purpose, the other message I feel is some of you may be being like your own taskmaster. I don't think that's exactly the expression I'm looking for, but kind of really saying to yourself, no, you are this, you must remain this. Why can't you change? You know, and again, if it's a feeling of, but I'm this age, people don't change at this age normally, do they? Well, who cares? You know, who cares about people, whether they change or not? And you know what, maybe they do, but they're also telling themselves I shouldn't change, so they repress it. You don't have to be repressed. You can make the change. Maybe set the new standard that people can make changes at whatever age. Okay, so let's see what we get with tarot here. Okay, so what's the new energy, please, coming in for my viewers? Any areas you want to bring forward in particular, please? I'm hearing something about Garfield. That's a cat, right? With a scarf. I don't know who that's a message for or why, but you know, there you go. Look at this. Seriously, this is such a time for new beginnings and change, big change. We've got judgment here, the energy of Scorpio. Yes, okay, we have to admit that if you make this change, it seems like it's so transformative that there is no going back. But why would we want to go back? Because it feels like you're making a change that's going to feel better, more in alignment. And if at some point in the future this isn't in alignment, you'll make another change, but it will still be pushing you forward. There's no going back, and going back is not even, that's not wanted, that's not the goal. With my gardening example, if you want to go back to gardening, okay, you will, but it's still in the future, it's still moving forward. It's not going back to gardening at this point. Maybe you'll have a new garden, you know? Okay, and once we hear that call, really, with the judgment card, we can try and ignore it, but it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger inside of us. So yes, it might be scary because it's a big change, feels pretty permanent, things won't be the same, but that is good. They will be better, so much better. Oh wow, 3 of Swords, the High Priestess reverse, Pisces. So all that will come from trying to push this inner knowing down is pain and confusion. So if I'm getting a specific message for someone, that if you're thinking, you know, I don't know what to do for work, or I don't know what to do for this or that, and you're thinking, the reason you can't come up with the solution is because the answer was the first one, it was the obvious one, it's the feeling. Maybe you've overthought it so much, or you've tried to rationalize it so much that now you're just completely lost in your thoughts. It's not making sense. So go back to that first impulse you had when you felt this desire for change. What was that, if you can remember it? Did you journal about it? Did you write it down? Did you speak to anyone? Okay, yes, Page of Pentacles. It feels like a starting again in some way. That might be how you're thinking of it, and that's pretty terrifying, especially if you already were at the position of, say, a King of Pentacles. And again, this concern about age is coming up, whether you're 18, 28, 48, 98, there's just a concern about age here, and saying, it would be foolish of me to begin again at this point in my life. it's not beginning again. It's not it's maybe beginning something new for the first time, but you're not beginning again. It doesn't mean that because you start something new right now, or you're heading in a new direction, that everything previously ceases to exist. If we talk about work, for example, if you're going down this new path, you're always going to have that experience, maybe those contacts to fall back on if you need to. Nothing gets taken away from you. Your experience, your knowledge, expertise, qualifications, that remains with you. You're just branching out, you're gaining new skills, doing something new. Okay, the Nine of Pentacles reversed. I wonder if there's a feeling of, if I make this change, it might be selfish. There was a bit of that message that came through on Monday. It might not benefit other people. So this could also be talking about identifying differently, showing up differently in the world, identifying as a sort of person who is this or likes that. How will people react to this change? I have to say, I don't think it's as big of a deal. It's as big of a thing for other people as it is for you. So they may just shrug their shoulders and say, oh, okay, so you like this now, fair enough. And that's not to diminish it, but it's almost to reassure you. So, if you're really in fear of sharing this new part of yourself, that fear might not be necessary at all. Okay, let's see. One more card, please. Can we have one more card? Anything? Yes. Okay, and then we've got the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Well, that feels very significant and poignant here. So this is what we're leaving behind. The Nine of Pentacles is the energy we're stepping into, which is confidence and independence. However, see how they've come up? Both are reversed, and the 9 is coming before the 10, which right now isn't feeling necessarily like a step up to me. It almost feels like we're blocked by what we have already manifested, the person we have become, or who we consider ourselves to be. And this 9 to 10, that makes sense, right? It feels counterintuitive to go from 10 to 9. It feels like a backward step. It feels like starting something again when it would be silly. But no, because if we think about the meanings of these cards, not just 9 comes before 10, so we should be aiming for 10 after 9. If we think about the meanings, the 9 of Pentacles is an energy of feeling completely content, self-sufficient. You're really seeing the payoff after the hard work of the Eight of Pentacles. You're in your own element. You're so happy with yourself. You're not concerned about what other people think of you. It's such a delicious energy to cherish and savor. Whereas the 10 of Coins, yes, that's also very nice, but now we're thinking about maybe the family unit. We're thinking about generations to come. We're thinking about the home. We're thinking about bills. We're thinking about the kids that have to be dropped off here and picked up there. We're thinking about, like all of the things. And yes, that whole community is great. And if it's work, we're thinking about bosses or colleagues or clients or employees, whatever it is. That's good in a different way. But I think whatever this is representing for you, this community feeling of the 10 of Pentacles and responsibilities outside of yourself, there's a shift you want to make, and it will see you going to this energy of the 9 of Pentacles, which is everything is good, but I am, at least for right now, more focused on me, and that feels okay. It's not selfish. And maybe I will step back into the 10 of Coins, of Pentacles here, but it will just look a bit different. So it could even be just taking maybe some time out for now, taking a couple of weeks off, or, if that applies to your situation and if it's doable. Just basically trying to give yourself some room to breathe and almost reinvent yourself. Except it's not that you're having to think of and force this reinvention. It's happened already within. It's about giving it time to find its way up to the surface and materialize. So going from the 10 to the 9 is not going down to 9. It's reclaiming a sense, first of all, of, okay, who am I? How do I identify as a person? What works for me? Then going back up to the 10 or back into the energy of the 10 and rebuilding this community of the 10 of Pentacles that is now in alignment with this renewed version of you, if you see what I mean. So maybe it's I'm finding a new job. Maybe I'm doing something now that's in alignment with my life purpose that I now resonate with. or if I wasn't doing something that aligned before, I'm doing it now. Or if it's family, it's maybe you need to shift up kind of where you position yourself within the family, or the roles that you're taking on. Relocation could be something about finances. If you have been someone who earned your money, you put it in the bank, you save it, maybe now you're thinking of not just saving it, but trying to bring in extra money on the money that you have saved by investing it in certain places. And maybe you never thought of yourself as someone who would branch out and do that. Well, if you're feeling the impulse, why not let yourself look into it, speak to people who know. So those are just some examples, but overwhelmingly the message and feeling here is, if this message is resonating with you, 1,000% there's a need for you to release something and allow yourself to grow, literally spread your wings, reinvent yourself, and that feeling's not going to quieten down. What's going to happen if you try to ignore it is pain, and that's already happening to some degree, because part of you is longing for this feeling of freedom, independence, reinvention. So try to allow it to happen, even if it has to be in small incremental stages. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you can just say, that's it, I'm seeing someone just throwing off their clothes. I think that's like a metaphor, but maybe someone wants to become a nudist, so I don't know. Whether you can do it right now, immediately, or in smaller stages, I think you've got to honour this feeling to get back to this place of calm and peace and not feeling, in pain, or confused or stressed. And like I said, if you've been in this place for some time and you've kind of lost sight of what is the thing that's going to feel good and natural, go back to maybe, like I said, did you have any conversations with people? They might remember different things to you, different things you've said. Did you write it down anywhere? Hearing browser history, internet search history, maybe when you first had this, whatever it, this feeling, this epiphany or this calling, maybe you Googled something, looked something up. So maybe, that's still available to go back and check. But yeah, okay, so thank you for watching. I hope this resonated. I hope it helped. I'm wishing you the best of luck with this change.